just start with your questions, and I'll answer them, and we'll move on. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So, what are the questions you have?
Or the question that I've got. Basically, it's just to try and understand step by step, like, what do I need to do in the beginning before deciding which pair to trade? I mean, I normally trade US30, so that's the pair that I'm most interested in.
So I usually send some news updates on the group. So you've been seeing those, the updates on what news to expect.
I can't actually hear you very clearly. I can hear you, but it's not very clear.
Okay. So give me a minute.
Yeah, I can hear the voice, but it's not very clear.
Okay, how about now?
Oh yeah, it's much better.
Okay. All right, so I was saying I've been sending in some news like
Yes.
on what to focus on. Okay, so basically I'm just going to do the whole process I go through before trading, right? So
okay, yes.
Here's the thing, my strategy works with fundamentals, right? Because that's where the market has liquidity and there's a lot of momentum. Okay, so I basically take advantage of momentum after the news. So usually moves happen after a news. So my strategy works very well on most of the pairs, but I think it works better on US30 and GBPUSD, right? So so all I have to do is just GBPUSD and GBP and USD here, right? So I have this for today. So you could see basically you have to understand microeconomics and micro. So there are two aspects of the fundamental analysis. You need to understand what moves GPB pairs, because for today we had the manufacturing production, which was very important to the GPB pair. And of course, we had CPI. Not all news are important, right? So you have to filter them. So basically, that's why I send you guys updates on what news I'll be looking at. Okay. So we had the CPI, which was what I took advantage of doing the New York session to trade US30, right? Because US30 is in the US. So any news coming for US most likely will affect the US30, right? So you could see I had FOMC also. This was 7 p.m. Okay. So basically what I do is you could see the US30 here. So I'm just going to take session break. Okay. So I'll be able to see period separator, right? So you can see this was the open of the day. And if I add this, and I could most likely I just want to see New York session. So I could just take out London, and right here, you could see this was where I would have started trading, right? Right here.
Okay.
Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Because the news was, this was the news on Forex Factory, which was around 1:30, and right here was around 1. So I started trading here. So in my
so about half an hour before the news time.
No. Just it started half an hour before the news, but I start after the news, right? I don't trade before the news. So if a news is coming out by 1:30 and I could see a setup right at 1:30, I'm taking it at 1:30. But if there's no setup, I'm waiting for 2 p.m. Okay. So it's more like you have to be to just look at the fundamentals and the technical. So just because you have the fundamentals, you have to make sure it's in sync with the technical. So basically in my GBP USD strategy, I'm sure I've sent you that. I covered this, which was like the M formation here, right? I'm sure you could see the M formation right here, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, so that was what I saw that made me to trade this setup, right? So I could easily see the M formation, right? So I could also check for correlation on the JP2500. and I'll be able to know if I'm going to sell or buy, right? And
Right.
also you can see this is the neckline, right? So this was the neckline right here. So a break down here and my stop loss would have been here, right? So this is my stop loss, right? Now, my first take profit will be the low, right, of this. And you can also see it went further. And I think I closed around here because sometimes you just have to take profit when you can, because if you understand this M formation right here, then you understand it might go maybe twice of this, right?
Yeah.
Or it might just go right up to this level and there is a bounce back up, right? So you want to pay attention, number one, and you have to understand trading is a game of probability. So you could actually see a very nice setup. Sometimes it goes your direction and sometimes it just doesn't, right? So you have to understand you are not certain. So there's uncertainty in the market. It's like you are not able to predict what will happen in the next 1 hour. You're just guessing. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no 100% accuracy, whatever. Okay. So you have to understand, okay, this is a game of probability. Okay, how much am I willing to risk on this? And you have, I think there's a guy that talks about what your mind goes through when you're trading, the battle in your head, like your mindset. This is beyond psychology. It's more like a battle in your head, because this is like life and death. It's like you're facing a lion, right? So your subconscious mind takes control of your trading, and you have to be aware of that, right? So you'll be able to know, am I trading out of fear, out of greed, or am I beating myself up for losing money, right? So once you're losing and your head will be like, why are you so stupid? Like, why am I so stupid? Why do I keep losing? You get? So there's always that voice, and you need to know how to manage it. And the only way to manage it is to actually know, okay, I can't risk all my capital. I could easily risk 2% for this trade, but I still need to know when to trade, because if you're not sure of when to trade, then probably you wake up at 2 a.m. and see a setup and say, let me jump on it, and then you can't sleep, right? So you have to be on your so that's why I designed this strategy in such a way you only trade at a particular time. And once you can find a setup there, basically you just stay out of the market, right? Because actually making $1 million with proper risk management is easy, right? Because it said if you could actually trade $1,000 for 100 days, right, at a 7% per day, at the end of 100 days you have about $1.2 million, right, with just 1,000. So it's more like you have to think about it from the perspective of compound interest, right? So you have to be sure, if I'm risking this, I'm risking, but then be aware of the mental battle going on in your head, so you don't stress yourself, right? Because the moment you're stressed, you make mistakes, you take revenge trade, and then you lose more money, and then after the trade,
the judgment is clouded.
So you see your setup there, but then you've missed it already, because instead of buying, you're already selling, and you didn't determine where your stop loss should be. So I'm going to be sending you guys a link to the I think he's a psychologist, right? He's a psychologist now, and he's also a trader. So he has been very helpful in my journey, right? So you're not just paying for my own experience. I give you mine, and I tell you all the other best teachers out there that will also help you, right? Because trading is a journey, so you have to. But basically, you just have to know, okay, there's the news, and I look for my setup, right? Okay, there's news, and all I have to do is look for a setup like this, and I check with JP2500, and you could see right here there wasn't a break, right? So you could see the M right here, right? Which I covered. You could see it. So you could see there wasn't a break, but there was on Us30. So it's easy if you see it from this point of view. Now, this down, remember your the trend indicator I gave you usually tells you a buy or a sell market, right? And I know it was going to be telling you a sell market today, because I know how I programmed it. It was programmed in a way that I don't have to check my analysis. I just have to check, and I will know exactly what's happening, and I'll be able to know what to do. Okay. So So the next thing you want to do is to recognize your high and your low, right? Your high of the previous day or any close high to your current high, right? So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
So you can see this was today, this was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So I could say, okay, this was the high of yesterday, right? And this was the low of yesterday, right? Now, this is the open, right? So I'm sure one of this is going to happen. It's either it takes out this high, right? Or it takes out this low. So if I have a trade from here and I'm buying, this gives me an idea that my first take profit should be here, right? And also you could remember there was news today for GPB, which was this 7 a.m., right? Which is what caused this movement right here. So I think I got this trade from here. I got it right to here, right? I closed. I knew it was going to keep buying because I had another buy, another level here. But then I didn't wait for my confirmation. I didn't wait for the news. I just entered here. And when it came down, I closed at a loss, right? And you can see right now it's going back up. So you have to be patient with yourself, with your trading. So I already covered how to trade this GPB USD in the GBPUSD strategy. I'm sure I sent it to you, right? Where you do the combination of Euro GBPUSD and Euro GBP and Euro USD for, okay, let me go over it again. I'm sure this might be confusing a little, but you'll be able to watch the video later on, right? So you still have the video to watch and then just go through it, okay? So like I said, if you're trading GBP USD during the London session, right? During London, right? So you're going to be needing GBP USD, right? Let me write it down, okay? So, okay, GBP USD, right? GBP SGD, GPB, JPY, and Euro GBP, right? So now, this for when you're trading London session. So any news on GBP, these are the currencies you should be looking at, okay? So for London, right? While for New York session, you just have to change this GBP USD, GBP SGD, and Euro USD, right? Okay. So basically, it's the same principle. I'm still going to be making more videos, but for today, right? Let me see if I can open this. So I could show you the trade I took today. I'm sure you saw the trade on Us30, right? Which I uploaded to the group. So this was what I saw. Right now, I came, okay, on Us30.
Which time frame would you say is good for entries?
Basically 1 minute, 5 minutes, and 15. Because those are the time frames I look at, right? That's what I look at. So you could see today's trade was on the 5 minute for this. And you could also see it on the 15 minute, right? You could see this on the 15 minutes right here, right before the news, right? So you could easily see this, and you could see this low right here, right? And if you zoom out, you'll be able to see the low of yesterday. I could see the next low is here, right? So, so for tomorrow, this will be the low, right? So this tells me, basically this tells me if there's a break tomorrow of this low, then there might be a pullback and then hitting here, right? Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. But the news is very important. Like you have to know what news you're trading. I could see there's a high here and another one here. I could see just like this. I'm sorry, this is a bit rough. So you could see right here, this high, right? So you could see there was a break, a pullback, and then you have your entry down here. Okay, but you have to pay attention to the news, which I update you guys every day. For tomorrow we'll be having, I think, just USD. So we have the PPI unemployment claims, right? And we have the crude oil inventories tomorrow. So we have this important news on this. I think those are, and I'll be sending daily updates on the news to focus on, so you'll be able to know what you're looking at. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically that's just all I do, right? So tomorrow, I know I'm not trading London session because I don't have any news on GPB, right? So I will not be trading the GPB in the morning. I will only be trading it during the day. That's New York session, my time zone. I don't know about, okay, that's we share the same time zone, right? So tomorrow I'll be trading GBPUSD and US30 during the New York session, right? So basically I will just have them lined up on my MT4. I think this is not open. So there's I covered this in the other video where you have 4 or 5 different charts on the same screen. Yeah, so that's what I do. I'll just set up my setup for US30 on a separate side, and then GPB on a separate side, and I'll be looking at them at the same time to know which pair I'll be trading, and also consider my okay, so I will just do this, right? So I'll just do this right here tomorrow. So once you have this settled, you know what time to trade, what to expect, and that's basically all you need, right? So you just have to just have your screens this way. Right.
So that's good because it gives you an overview of what's happening in each of those pairs.
You said?
I'm saying that setup, splitting them in the screen is good because you get to compare and see the different what's happening in each of the pairs.
Yeah, that's true. So that's what I do. So I have on my screen this way. I could easily add the GPB SGD, right, and Euro GPB on the side, or I could have 2 different screens. If I have 2 laptops, so if you have 2 laptops, you could just have them set up that way, or you could easily have them this way. So you have your GPB here, right? So you'll be able to see what exactly you're doing at the same time, right? So you could easily see your setup at the same time on all pairs. So it's easy for you that way.
I use TradingView, but I should be able to do this on TradingView as well, isn't it?
On TradingView, yeah, you should. But you have to be subscribed. Okay. I'm not subscribed on this. I'm subscribed on my main account.
All right, okay.
So once you're subscribed, you'll be able to have multiple windows, which are here. So you can have 6.
Okay, yeah.
Have this, so you have to be subscribed. So once you're on the subscribed account, you could easily do that. Or you could use your MT4, which is also same thing. So, but basically, that's just all you need to know, right? So you could easily see this move down, right? You could see how they don't correlate, and you know what to do next, depending if there is a news or not, right? So basically, that's just what I consider. And this is not loading, but I hope you understand everything I do and how I combine them with the news. So you can see it's actually very easy. It's very easy because I know exactly what I'm looking for, and I'm not focused on so many pairs, right? I'm only focused on 2. So I could combine any correlation I know or any similarities to other pairs, and I'll be able to know what news is coming in this week, next week, right? So I know what to be expecting. So it's basically, that's all you need to know. That's all you need.
So I normally use price action quite a lot. So I've got like specific patterns that I would chart up in advance. So if I had a setup like in advance that and I'm waiting for the news time,
Yeah.
would both of them work well together?
Yes, they would, but if there's no news, then it wouldn't get to your take profit, or it might get
Yeah.
to your stop loss faster, right?
Okay,
Because,
so the news gives the momentum. It
yeah,
makes
the
things
news is the
move.
momentum.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and now you could trade from Monday to Friday. All you have to do is know what you'll be trading each day, right? So you can see this was today, this was Monday. And if I have to check, did I trade on Monday? I can't remember. But you can see there was a break here, right?
Yeah.
And there was a break on this too. So I was selling, but then once it went back up, I took a loss. I had to close because
Yeah.
you can't hold on to a loser just because you want the market to do what you want it to do, right? Because I have two entries. I had one around here because I was actually expecting a sell-off right to this point, right? Because I was expecting a sell-off right after the news to this point. But then after getting to this point, I was still expecting to take an entry on the 1 hour, right? Because I was looking at the 15-minute, but then it never completed because there was a news on USD also, right? So what you have to understand is if there's news on both pairs for that day, most likely the movement is going to be for London, it might go up, and for New York, it comes down. But let's say there's just one news on GPB, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go back and check whenever there's just a single news on one pair, and that's when you find moves like this, right? So this started during the London session, which was GPB, right? So you check, and I'm sure that would have been a day where only GPB news was out. So the whole momentum there was that GPB was very weak. So you can easily take advantage of that. And I also covered that in the GPB USD strategy, which I think I covered all these other aspects on how to spot if there's going to be a sell or a buy, right? So you could easily see your M pattern from here, right? You could easily see it. I'm sure it's easy to see it when it is already done, right? So it's easy to see, to study the past, but you could easily just picture out half of this, right? And you could say, okay, I'm going to keep my entry right here. And if it doesn't get to this point, then I'm not sure, right? So you just need a confirmation. So you're not just trying to guess and say, okay, this looks like this, so I'm just going to jump on the trade. No, you have to be sure this is what you're getting, right? So
this is what you expect to happen, and then you wait for it to,
and then you wait for
go
it,
your way.
right? So you could see this move here, right? So if we go back and check, probably there was GPB news on the 1st of October. So let's just see. Let's just see what happened on the 1st. Last week. Right, so you can see we had the GPB final manufacturing PM, right? So you can see there are details to this. A lot of people just think understanding fundamentals is hard, so they don't actually try. They don't try to learn it, but it's actually very important. And especially if you're trading Forex, right? You have to really consider this. So you can see the news right here. The effect actual greater than forecast is good for currency, right? So you can see this is the forecast, and it was actually greater, right? Right, this was what they got. So it was greater than the forecast. So it was good for GPB, right? I could see the move. You could see since it was good for GPB, it was a move up, right?
It went up.
Yeah. But sometimes you have to understand that good news is bad news and bad news is also good news. So you don't want to guess. That's why you need to check the technical aspect of your strategy also.
Right, okay.
So I think basically that's all the work I do, right? Just knowing when to trade and then making sure I'm on my system. So if you go back and check the setup for this, first you could see on GBPUSD and you could see on GBPUSD. Right, you could see you could actually see that you were actually going to jump on this trade from understanding the GBPUSD strategy. So if you could actually wait for it to get here and enter, and then you have your stop loss right here, and you could ride it to whichever point you desire. Because this was the high for this day, right? And this was the high for the previous day before the news. So you can see this high acted as a place where the market made a supply and demand zone, right? Because it was the previous high. And then once it broke here during the US, the New York session, which was this news, because there was USD news also. So you could see core and final PMI. And I'm sure I sent all this to know which news to focus on, right? So basically, that's how easy it is. So if you have any other questions, I'm listening.
No, that's straightforward. It makes a lot of sense.
Okay. I'm really happy to hear that. But we're still gonna once you have more questions, just come back, okay? Just let me know, and I'm here to help. I might take time sometimes. I just get really busy, and I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
All right, so
I'm gonna try it out and see how I get on, and I'll probably do some back testing to get more confident in it as well.
All right, no problem. I will send you. I will send you the link to this once I have it uploaded.
Great, that's fine. Perfect.
All right. Good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Bye.